Skip to main. Sign in. Search the web. Top stories. Government shutdown begins. Hegseth's military meeting. McDonald's monopoly returns. Des Moines Schools superintendent resigns. Trump RX partners with Pfizer. Hurricane Imelda tracker. Google to pay Trump $24.5 million. Michigan church shooting. Netanyahu oaks Trump's Gaza plan. American released by Taliban. Beijing's anger at extremely malicious U.S. move to ramp up pressure on Chinese tech firms. John Liu, CNN. Tuesday, September 30, 2025 at 1:22 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time +5. 3 minutes read. Add Yahoo on Google. 22. People watch two unitary humanoids fighting in a boxing ring during a tech show in Hangzhou in East China's Zhejiang province on September 28, 2025. Feature Ekina, Newscom, SIPA USA. More. Yahoo is using AI to generate takeaways from this article. This means the info may not always match what's in the article. Reporting mistakes helps us improve the experience, generate key takeaways. The Trump administration ramped up its pressure on Chinese tech firms on Monday by expanding restrictions imposed on certain companies to also cover their subsidiaries, a move that's drawn the ire of Beijing as the two powers remain locked in a technology race. The U.S. action aims to stop sanctioned companies, including technology champion Huawei, memory chip giant YMTC and drone maker DJI, from evading export controls by funneling restricted technologies through their subsidiaries. The new rule closes a significant loophole, the U.S. Department of Commerce said, by making any subsidiary at least 50% owned by a firm already on the export controls list face the same restrictions as the parent company, a shift that could affect tens of thousands of companies. Advertisement. In response, a spokesperson for China's Ministry of Commerce called the move extremely malicious, adding that the country would take necessary measures to protect the rights and interests of its companies. Beijing urges Washington to immediately correct its wrongdoing and stop its unreasonable suppression of Chinese companies, the spokesperson said. The curbs mark a fresh attempt by Washington to tighten restrictions already imposed on over 1,000 of Chinese firms, which the Commerce Department deemed a risk to U.S. national security or foreign policy interests. Entities on the list are required to obtain licenses for exporting certain products or technologies. The restricted technologies cover a large swath of future-defining industries such as artificial intelligence, semiconductors, advanced robotics, and equipment needed to produce them. The new rule will also extend to entities in the military end-user list, which aims to prevent dual-use items from being diverted for military purposes. Advertisement. The announcement injects fresh uncertainty into the ongoing U.S.-China trade war, just weeks before President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping are expected to meet at the sidelines of the APEC summit in South Korea. While the rule change does not specifically single out China, Chinese and Russian entities dominate the so-called entity list, primarily for aiding their nation's military technology advancements. China, in particular, has in recent years alarmed Washington with its rapid progress in chip and AI technologies, prompting the blacklisting of Huawei in 2019 and hundreds of others in subsequent years. For too long, loopholes have enabled exports that undermine American national security and foreign policy interests, said Jeffrey I. Kessler, Undersecretary of Commerce for Industry and Security, in the department's statement. Experts and policy advisors have long warned against the possibilities of restricted companies utilizing their subsidiaries or affiliates to bypass the curbs. In 2023, the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee released a report describing the use of the entity list as ineffective, and calling for a new approach such as that announced this week. Advertisement. In an example cited in the report, Huawei sold its smartphone brand Honor to a consortium that included the Chinese government in 2020, after it was added to the entity list. Honor has never been blacklisted. A separate congressional report said the case of Huawei and Honor exemplified Chinese companies restructuring themselves potentially to circumvent U.S. export and investment restrictions.